Swinnerton. Each and every week, we talk with local entrepreneurs, local business owners in town. We talk about how they started their business, why they started their business, and what are challenges that they face. Maybe a challenge of opening the business, maybe a challenge of just keeping the business open. And at the end, probably one of the most interesting parts is what drives and motivates them to keep on doing what they do. So I have to admit, I have so been looking forward to this episode since we booked it a few weeks ago. First of all, because we're going to invite Lydia Snider back. She's our co-host. Hi, Lydia. How you doing?
Hi, Matthew. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming back. What do you do, Lydia?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I help people with their branding and voice, particularly with the social media component.
Great. Okay, so you are a perfect co-host for today, and we're going to talk about why. But somehow, I think the audience will find out why you're probably the best co-host for today. So we'll talk about that soon. But also, for our two guests today, we have Doug Erickson and Andrew Mueller, and they are basically like my work friends. So I think we're going to have a good time today. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Hi, Matthew.
Yeah. So Doug, you're doing what marathon tomorrow?
Oh, Big Sur Half Marathon.
Okay. And you're going to go kite surfing today, I hear?
No, this is my taper.
This is your taper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so if you have any questions or any comments, please call our phone number. It's 831-479-1080. That's 831-479-1080. Or if you just want to email us a comment or question, you can email Matthew at Event Santa Cruz. That's Matthew at Event Santa Cruz, and I'll try to get your question or comment on the air. So let's get right into it. Let's do our starting segment, how you started. And I'm going to turn it over to Lydia for that.
Yes, so as...
Matthew?
You're on one.
Oh, no.
Thank you. So, as Matthew pointed out, we are all among friends here, and I'm going to be talking to Andrew here, who does our TechRaising community. So, Andrew, what is TechRaising, really?
TechRaising. Well, TechRaising is a community effort. It is designed to help build the tech ecosystem here in Santa Cruz, California. We bring people together to work on startup ideas, projects, and to learn. Most of all, really, to get to know each other so that when something comes up and people could help, they can help. They start businesses. They do all kinds of things. It's really a voluntary effort.
So whenever I think of the word tech raising, I can't help but thinking of the Amish barn raising. Was that part of this? Was that part of the idea?
Well, yeah, it kind of was. The idea is to bring the people together and, to build something. So, yeah, it was perfectly was. So I hope that comes through when people think of tech raising.
So how do you bring all these people together?
So we do a number of things. We hold events. We hold monthly meetup events where we usually have a speaker or a panel, or sometimes you just get together for social events. But the idea is to bring people together to learn. And then we also have weekend-long startup blitzes or events where designers, developers, engineers, entrepreneurs, people with ideas, marketers come together with mentors in the community. They pitch each other their ideas in 90 seconds. After they pitch the ideas, they talk to each other, form teams with people they never met before, and work on building those ideas through the weekend. The goal is to show those ideas to each other or show what they've built at the end of the weekend. It's a collaborative effort.
But more importantly, how's the food during the weekend?
It's usually good, since you order it, Matthew.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's sort of, what happens. And then what's really the atmosphere? What is that weekend really like? If someone was going to go, what would their experience really be?
So expect to have all different kinds of emotions come up. You're going to be very vested in making something happen. You're going to experience, some highs, some lows. You're going to go through basically in one weekend what an entrepreneur goes with their company in the first 2 years of their business. Going from, I got a great idea, I am so excited about it, to how am I going to do this? And who is going to help me do it? So It is quite a experience. People really love it. They always come out saying how much they've grown from the experience, whether or not they've built something that goes on to be a successful company.
You know what's funny about that is I always think it's funny at the very end of the weekend. It's 6 o'clock. The demos happen, and everybody's excited. But it seems like you got 200 geeks, I guess you can say, that are hugging each other and so emotional at the end that they really went through an experience over that weekend.
Yeah, they can't even leave. Everyone wants to stay together, and they end up in the red drinking until 2 in the morning.
Exactly. Maybe we should have a cleanup party with them next time instead.
I think we tried that. It didn't work.
It didn't work too much. The red was a little bit more enticing than a cleanup Cruiseo. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so if people wanted to find out about the TechRaising weekend and all the events that are happening in the rest of the year, how would they go about that?
So you could visit TechRaising.com, and we have the information about the events. There is a widget that shows you the meetup events. If you go sign up for the newsletter, and we send a infrequent newsletter when we have something to announce, and we also have the meetup group. So if you go to meetup.com, you could search for TechRaising and join that group. And between those things, you'll get all the information you need.
Okay, so that sort of sounds like, the weekend is, a bunch of, make it sound like a bunch of geeks getting together, and maybe some,
It's
events.
not just geeks, though. We have every kind of people show up. We have people that have no experience in tech at all, who have an idea for something. And the cool part about it is we have people from companies like Google and Yahoo and AOL who come down and want to volunteer their time to help people like you and I. I mean, I'm not really a geek. I mean, I don't code, but to build the ideas.
I know I don't code, but some of my best friends do. So, aside from just the events, how does TechRaising fit into the Santa Cruz community as a whole?
So we're here to serve the community. We're here for anyone who is interested in tech and entrepreneurship, and that's regardless of the technical experience. We feel that entrepreneurship is one of the things that will help the economy in Santa Cruz. There are a number of amazing new companies in Santa Cruz that are starting to grow very quickly. I'm sure we'll get to that later in the show. But we're here really as a resource and to bring people together. We're supported by sponsors. We make the events extremely inexpensive for the attendees to attend. The idea is to take away barriers from people moving from the talking phase to the doing phase. So the fact that Economic Development Department of Santa Cruz, Southwell Ventures, Cruise.io, Product Ops, NextSpace, Studio Holiday, IP Society, Santa Cruz Tech Beat, Hotel Paradox, Wellmade, Central Coast SBDC, Light Rail Retail, Plastic Trophy, and more sponsor us continually shows us that they want this to continue. The community reaches out and basically asks for it. And they benefit because they see the effort as building a stronger tech community here in Santa Cruz, and that's good for them.
So I know that TechRaising is a volunteer activity that you do. So what do you do when the rest of the time? What else are you up to?
So I've been a consultant, marketing consultant, strategist who have helped CEOs for Fortune 500 companies and for startups to build deeper relationships with their customers. I've done that for years. But I also have a new startup in town, and that startup is called Wellmade. And the first thing we're doing with that startup is building a new media property, and that property is called ShareJam. And that will be launching soon. That would be at sharejam.com. In fact, we're looking for writers right now. So if there are any great writers out there, go to sharejam.com, and you'll see a little link, and you could tell us about yourself. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, Andrew, I got one quick question for you. This is from Michael from Santa Cruz, and he asked, what companies have come out of TechRaising?
So there's quite a few companies that have come out of TechRaising that are still moving. It's 4 years old, so that would be pretty new for companies. We have a company called Supply Shift, for instance. Supply Shift, about 2 years ago, they went through TechRaising. They got started at TechRaising. They then went on to the TechCrunch 50. And that's the one of the premier startup contests basically in the country. It was in New York City. They became one of the 7 finalists. They are launched. They have customers that pay them for product. They are helping people helping companies build sustainable supply chains. We have
Hill Tromper?
Hill Tromper came out of it. Lithomobilis.
That's
amazing.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent amount of companies.
We have there's more. There's First Traction, which is Bruno's company. What are they?
Help Me Well.
Help Me Well. That's right. Help Me Well. And there's more. And
go to our website.
The website has a list of them.
Yeah. I have one more question too. So, and again, I guess I should say full disclosure. All of us, all 4 of us, Lydia, Doug, Andrew, and me, we're all connected somehow with our new tech meetups or with our TechRaising. So, I know some of these answers. But, Andrew, what is your version of how TechRaising started? Like, what was it? What was the, and I told Lydia, I was like, there's actually 3 different versions, Margaret's, Andrew's, and mine.
Everybody has their own truth.
Yeah.
So my version of the TechRaising getting started was after Margaret Rosas gave a passionate speech about how she thought that Santa Cruz needed a media property to promote tech in the city. She did that actually at Doug's New Tech Meetup. I kind of was thinking about that. I was really inspired by her passion to make something happen here, and I thought that maybe the change needed was to help people move from that talking phase into the doing phase. So I was talking with Matthew in Cruzio and looking around that big room with that giant window, saying, I'd love to do something here, and an event here. And Matthew says, yo, me too. I was thinking of doing a TechCrunch 50 kind of event here. And I said, yeah, I'd like to do something more kind of like a startup weekend thing. And he's like, yeah, we'll do it. And I said, well, if we're going to do it, we got to get Margaret. Mm-hmm. So I sat down with Margaret.
You were going to meet with Margaret, having lunch an hour later.
I think it was the next day or something, but it was soon.
Okay.
But, and so when I talked to Margaret, I was sitting down, I told her about the idea. She said, it's great. It's a great idea. And then I said, yeah. I said, do you think we do it if anyone will show up? And she just looks at me with these eyes burning through. And she waited a second. She said, yeah. To the day she thinks I dared her.
Yeah. But it was pretty nerve-wracking because, that was a month and a half before the actual event happened, right? It was about a month and a half from when we decided we're going to do it till it actually happened.
I think it was a month and a couple months.
Couple months like that.
It wasn't long.
But I think it was maybe a week before, 2 weeks before. We only had 33 people signed up.
Less than that. Yeah. Everyone signed up at the last minute.
Yeah, we're this is going to fail. We don't have enough money to feed them. And then all of a sudden it happened.
And this year it was a little different though.
We sold out.
Yeah, no, we sold out and early. Everybody was buying tickets as soon as we announced them. I do have actually one point. Ted Holliday just texted me and said Instant Magazine came out of TechRaising as well.
That's right.
Yeah, and still strong. We're on number 3, I think. Have you guys seen that the 3rd edition? Yeah, Santa Cruz
it's a beautiful magazine.
Yeah. So thank you, Ted, for calling in or texting in on that one. Okay. Do you have any more questions for this guy?
Nope. I think that's about it. TechRaising is our sort of nurturing. New Tech is the debutante ball of tech. In Santa Cruz. We'll find out about them after this.
Great. We're going to talk to Doug Erickson in 2 minutes.
Wow, I'm standing outside the Staff of Life Natural Food Store watching shoppers buzz in and out like bees at their hive on a hot summer day. I'm wondering, what do all those shoppers find at Staff of Life they can't find at the big box store? Let's ask.
Tom, I've been shopping at Staff of Life since they first opened. It's always good prices, good selection. You always see people like you.
Hi, my name's Kalila. They're wonderful people, and I like to give my business to the people in my community. They have a good meat department. They have a great produce department. I mean, you can't find anything like this. It's for me that it's very satisfying to shop here.
Sharon, Santa Cruz. Staff of Life has the best food. I get fresh everything I need. They have a lot of things I can't find anywhere else.
Think local first and eat local first by shopping a genuine Santa Cruz tradition. The original, locally owned Staff of Life natural food store at 1266 SoCal Avenue in Santa Cruz. If you can't find it at Staff of Life, maybe you don't want to find it.
From apples to zebras? Well, you can buy anything online, except peace of mind and professional, caring advice. Hello, I'm Matthew King of King Insurance and Financial. Our family-owned agency is celebrating its 50th anniversary, providing Santa Cruz County businesses and residents with valuable advice. King Insurance is proud of being recognized as experts on the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, as well as on the insurance products you need to protect your business, home and auto, and on the life insurance and financial services you need to protect your family's future. Celebrating our 50th anniversary with you is an important milestone for us. Whether guiding a devastated client through the loss of a home fire or advising everyone through the confusing and unsettling new healthcare laws, we're always proud to be here for you. Yes, you can buy just about anything on the internet, but if you want peace of mind and professional, caring advice, call on King Insurance and Financial, a proud member of Think Local First, 688-1434, or visit us online at santacruzinsurance.com.
Welcome back to the Think Local First radio show. I'm your host, Matthew Swinnerton. Our show is co-hosted by Lydia Snider. Thank you very much for doing that with us today. And we have our two guests. We have Doug Erickson and Andrew Mueller. So we got a chance to visit with Andrew, and now it is Doug's turn. He is on the hot seat. So Doug Erickson, how did you get here? Or where are you from, and how did you get to Santa Cruz?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Berkeley, California. I had pretty much a hippie mom family, and we would drive our Volkswagen bus down here every summer and spend most of the summers here. And that's when I first fell in love with Santa Cruz.
Okay.
I came back, went to school, UCSC, graduated in with English and Latin literature degree. And
very techie.
Yeah, could not figure out what the heck I was going to do. So there was a new sport out at the time. It was called windsurfing, and I decided to create a windsurf company. And very slowly, we grew over 4 years to number 2 in the world for hardware. And but we actually started with a different product. It was a wood veneer board called Fleetwood, and where we succeeded was making the hardware, which was called Surf Tech. And after 4 years, we disbanded. Everybody went different ways. I thought I should pursue. There was somebody else out there that was really doing much better than I was at 28 years old, and his name was Steve Jobs. And so I decided to go the tech course.
So what do you do? Where do you go?
So I've been in the tech industry ever since, and I manage. I take an executive role as a sales leadership in global companies, helping them move create sales teams and channels for typically B2B cloud products. So those companies include WebEx, Cisco, Sugar CRM, Saba. So fairly good-sized companies, and it's been just fantastic.
You were out of the country for a while, weren't you?
A lot. A lot. For the last 10 years, I think I've been gone about every 3 weeks out of a quarter. And at one point, for 3 months, living in Sydney, establishing our offices in Sydney. And it was a lot of years of travel. Did you enjoy that, or was that tough? I got the wanderlust DNA in me, so okay. Yeah, I love travel. But at some point, I do not want to be a ghost to my family, mm-hmm. nor to my community. So I chose to spend more time here. We're glad you did. Thank you. So let's get into the Santa Cruz New Tech Meetup. How did you start that? How did you come up with the idea? Well, just about 8 years ago, I was spending a lot of time in the Valley, and there's a there was the New Tech Meetup. Meetup is a platform for any type of event or group where you want to bring people together, whether it be new tech or knitting or cat lovers. It's a platform. And in Palo Alto there was a Silicon Valley New Tech Meetup. In San Francisco there's a San Francisco New Tech, and I went to a couple of these, including to Boulder, and it was just incredible, the format and the amount of people that were there and the ideas that were going around. So I got the charter for Santa Cruz, put it together, and it was really done because while I know thousands of people around the world in my professional network, I knew very few people in Santa Cruz, and I decided it was time to get to know some of these people, and that was sort of the conception of Santa Cruz New Tech Meetup.
So you said like the charter for the meetup. Yeah. Like when I go to meetup, I can just make up any meetup group. What's the difference between the New Tech Meetup?
At the time when New York first started their New York New Tech Meetup,
okay,
they had sort of a package formula for the way that they did it, and when people saw that. And then out of that, they grew a platform so that anybody could do it. But initially what they were doing was pushing the idea of, hey, other cities should do this too. This is a great format for getting together once a month and learning about networking with people that are in the tech industry and learning about new tech.
So do you remember your first new tech?
Like
yeah. So give me the environment, what was happening, how many people were there?
Sure. Yeah. It was at the Santa Cruz police station.
Which is not there anymore, right?
No, it's still there.
I thought they moved.
No, they have a community room there.
Okay.
It's a little sterile. You can't have alcohol. Got to watch what you're saying, I think. No, it was
Only two people
nice
got arrested
for the time.
Yeah.
It was. I had to beg people to attend. I think. Jeremy Neuner was there. This was before Next Space, okay. And there was probably not more than 15 people that attended, and it was good. We had a good first event, and I just kept pushing, and I think I lost money for the first 3 years, which my wife still says it. I owe her a couch or two. But it was fantastic. It started to grow, and it seemed like 2 years ago is when it finally really just got wings and flew.
So more than 15 people show up now?
Yeah, typically at the last one this month, we held it at Cruise I.O. I think there were over 280 people in the building. I hope the fire marshal's not listening.
It was 247.
Under 200.
Yeah.
And there were at least 50 people out the door trying to get in. So it was
packed.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And
but that's every month, though. I mean,
things have changed, and I think Andrew and all you got, Lydia, and I think Matthew, I think you'll agree. It seems like in the last 2 years there's been a lot more growth here in Santa Cruz with tech.
Why is that?
So, before we go there, I just want to ask a quick question, because you talked a little bit about the format and that this really worked well. So when people come to it, what are they going to expect? What's going to happen?
Booze.
Lots of booze and pizza.
So the first hour is, we call it networking, and it's lots of food and booze and live music and networking. So it's a way to sort of get to know people in your community. And it's fun. We typically have slideshows going on at the same time. And then the second hour and a half is, and Lydia knows about this because she's also the co-organizer, but she's cueing me on these questions.
Yes, I am.
Good job. We have 4 to 5 companies, sometimes as many as 6, who from all over the world. Some of them are from, more and more are now from Santa Cruz, that come in. They have 5 to 7 minutes to tell us what their technology is, who they are, and it can't be a sales pitch. It has to be something that is going to be a new tool that we can use in our current company or some way to help us advance our career, or maybe even just spark a little bit of entrepreneur flame in us to get us to do something. So that's basically the format. There's a lot of audience interaction and Q&A, and we've had companies from Adobe to, and Cisco to very small companies. A lot of the exciting new startups in Santa Cruz, like Acorn and any number of different companies.
Evernote too. They were one of the speakers one time, right?
Evernote
They
was
spoke twice.
Oh, really?
I remember.
In fact,
Phil.
Phil Abman. He was
Shy.
he was the first time that we moved from the Santa Cruz Police Department to NextSpace. NextSpace had just opened.
Okay.
And Jeremy has some horrible stories about that because people didn't clean up. But it was, he spoke there, and he was kind of a little bashful about it. He was saying, well, I had this idea. My wife and I were in the kitchen. We were making dinner, and I started suggesting that I need a way to collect notes. When I go out to buy wine, I can never remember the name of the label on the bottle and stuff. So I just need a way to collect all that. And
you Skyped somebody in recently, also, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And more recently,
from Vancouver, right?
Yeah, he was the winner of actually from Victoria. He was it was called Craft Tea, and it was a keg monitoring app, a keg app for breweries. And he was the winner of...
I feel a theme is going on here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all about booze.
It is.
It's not all about booze. So also, too, do you have to be techie? Are you going to understand and have a good time listening to these presentations if you are not a coder or not completely techie?
Yeah, there's this. It's not a hackathon. It's it's for anybody who's interested in tech, techs that they use for their business. So you could be a brick and mortar company that, coffee shop or a pub, or whatever. And you're looking at different accounting tools, different ways of doing your inventory, different ways of creating social media buzz, any number of different things.
Now that I'm going to throw Lydia on a little bit of a, she thinks we're going one way, but I'm going to go a little bit of a different way.
I can work with you on that.
So we have, we have Doug and Andrew here. You guys, out of anybody I can think of, know about or have the pulse of tech in Santa Cruz. You mentioned, Doug, that the last 2 years, you've seen it's been a little bit of a change with the meetup. But don't you think in general with tech, what has happened in the last 2 years in tech in Santa Cruz? Both you guys, leave it up to you.
Well, I have my ideas that I think it's a combination of many different things. The economy has got better over the last 2 years. The university is reaching out more to the community. We did the first hackathon between the UCSC and the Santa Cruz community last year, which was very successful. We're seeing the incubators doing really well. I called NextSpace, Cruise.io, Slingshot, incubators, accelerators. I see the development systems out there right now are just incredibly fast. Some of the new mean development systems allow you to really create things extremely fast. I don't know, Andrew. What do you think?
I think it's also a belief that the community is starting to have that tech could, this area was once, had some pretty substantial tech companies. We had Netflix started here. We had Santa Cruz Operations here. Texas Instruments was on the west side of town. Seagate was right over up in
Cisco
Scotts
was
Valley.
right downtown.
Cisco had an office downtown. It was AVG, not AVG. I forget what it was before. There was a lot here. There's also a tremendous amount of very bright technical people, engineers, developers who drive over the hill every day. Mm-hmm. These people choose Santa Cruz as their home. There's a lot of people that are retired from tech who are extremely experienced, who also live here, who love coming out and mentoring the community. The idea that there's events like Santa Cruz New Tech, like TechRaising, like other events put on at Next Space and elsewhere, allow the community to come together and see what's happening. And because of this, there's a belief people are starting to know each other. It's acting more like a community. That has given the university interest in creating a tech transfer program and working more with the community. So I think it's all those things Doug said, and it's something happening in the gestalt of the community or something that's making it both seem that way and reality.
So then let me put you on the spot. What do you see Santa Cruz in the next 5 years? Do you think we're going to be this like tech mecca, or it's going to be the same at where we're at right now? What do you think tech's going to be like in Santa Cruz in 5 years?
I think we're going to see more investment come in tech in Santa Cruz in the next 5 years. I don't think the nature of the community is going to change. The community is confined to as many houses that can be here. Housing prices are already up.
So
it's not going to affect those things. The people who are working over the hill for Silicon Valley companies are still living here, so it's not going to change. That part of it won't change.
You don't think our house pricing is going to go up?
No,
okay.
Not because of tech in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Doug?
Oh, I'd have to agree. I don't think that tech is going to. We're not going to turn into San Francisco kind of. We have a very small kind of ecosystem here, and we can't move any further west or into the ocean. We can't move that much into the hills here. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people now. There's some 20,000 tech workers that commute the hill every single day, and I think some of those people are going to start looking out and saying, spending 2 hours, 3 hours a day commuting, it just doesn't make sense.
It's not worth it.
And there's enough going on in Santa Cruz, and the opportunities now to create your own company here are vastly less expensive than they were 2, 4, 10 years ago. So I think the economy is going to change things, and we're going to see these great companies. You don't have to staff up with thousands of people or anything. You can run a fantastically profitable company with just 4 or 5 people. And
there are a few startups here that are going to break out in that 5-year periods. In fact, they're breaking out now. I mean, we have Looker. Yeah. Looker is really killing it right now. They are growing very quickly. They have a lot of customers. Great team over there. We have 5-3 Genomics. They're making incredible advancements in genetics, specifically right now for treatment of cancer, analysis of genotypes for treatment of cancer. We have Predpol. We have
I'm going to put my money on Tool. I'm going to put
Is that Tool?
I think they'll officially be launching, I think, in January. So we're going to hear a lot about them.
Any one of those companies.
Yeah.
Okay, we got that video, Darren, right? Tool. That's his prediction.
Yeah. Yes. Put money on it.
I want to jump in a little bit too on this whole why we won't really be San Francisco. It's actually, you can see it even in the types of companies that are being created here and in things like TechRaising. It's part of our culture of collaboration and working together and thinking bigger picture and thinking bigger picture in a very human way. And you can see that in the types of technology that are created in our community. Like TechRaising is not a competitive hackathon. It's a collaborative hackathon, essentially. That is the Santa Cruz influence. Predpol is about predictive policing, not about the who, but it's about how to help the police do their job better, and it's creating a difference for humanity. And we'll talk more about all this after.
Great. Actually, what we're going to talk about, we're going to have a special segment. We're going to have the guys from Lid Flesh talk to us about a special project. Back in 2 minutes.
The first thing they look at is your shoes. Hi, I'm Ellen Gill.
And if they see you in shoes and socks from Sock Shop and Shoe Company, they'll likely look up to you. Hello, I'm Eric Gill.
Sock Shop and Shoe Company has proudly outfitted Santa Cruz County in the best footwear for more than 25 years.
And with your support, we've turned our little Sock Shop and Shoe Company into a one-of-a-kind shoe store that attracts shoppers worldwide.
As the quintessentially locally owned Santa Cruz store, Sock Shop and Shoe Company proudly supports the efforts of Think Local First to promote the locally owned and independent businesses that make our community a special place to live and work.
And we hope you keep in mind all the local entrepreneurs who provide us with such wonderful variety of places to eat, work, and live, and who build a strong local economy for all of us. When you head out to shop, please remember to
Think local first. People will look up to you.
If your online experience is like this, and you'd like it to be much more like this, then call Jubico on 454-0850. The team at Jubico has spent the last 13 years transforming web experiences that feel like this to this. So if dealing with the web can sometimes feel like this,
the latter consisted simply of 6 hydrophobic
then
muzzle
call us at 454-0850 or check us out online at jabico.com, jabico.com.
Welcome back to the Think Local First radio show. I am your host, Matthew Swinnerton. So for this segment, we're going to break it up a little bit. We have Steve and Chris from Lid Flush. Now, I'm just going to leave it totally open, and I'm just going to ask Steve, because Steve Terry, what is Lid Flush?
Well, Lid Flush is a product that changes the way the toilet flushes. And at the same time, in the process of doing this, it suppresses what's called the aerosol effect. Sometimes people call it the toilet sneeze, which is the effect of the rushing water from your tank into the bowl, creating a plume of mist that unfortunately ejects the contents and the pathogenic contents of your toilet bowl into the surrounding area, and frankly, it winds up being on everything over time. So
I think we came up with the name of the show. It's called The Toilet Sneeze. Yeah. That'll be this week's show.
Yeah, that's a very graphic picture, actually, when you say it that way. But and also the other things that the advantages of using the lid rather than the toilet handle, it keeps the pets and toddlers out of the toilet, which is something we all will appreciate. And then other things like improving the appearance and keeping things from falling in the bowl, maybe even making the room smell a little better.
So
those kinds of things.
So how did you come up with the idea?
What happened was and this actually happened a while back, but I was reading an article and came across something that I had read before, and some humorous reference to the toilet war and the gender conflict around whether the seat should be up or down. I kind of chuckled and went on, and then I was asking the question. The question popped up in my head: Why in the 21st century, when we're landing objects on comets and putting Facebook on your phone, why can't we find a technological solution for this? This has just seemed pretty silly. So I just couldn't seem to shake that question, and I started pursuing it, doing a little research, and the more I looked into it, the more substance I found to the issue, and I went from the harmony issue to the hygiene issue, which has to do with, as I say, the toilet sneeze, which goes back to studies back in 1975 that confirmed that in fact is what happens, and that putting the lid down is one way to suppress that and keep a more hygienic area.
So at some point, well, I know you've probably known Chris from Launch Brigade for a while. How did you, and let me ask Chris actually, so how did you guys get together?
So I met Steve a few months after I started at NextSpace, and at some point he started talking about this, and we'd bump into each other in the cafe and kind of the proverbial water cooler chat. And Steve was a little bit obsessed at trying to solve this problem, and he had actually come up with an initial product that covered the handle on the toilet, and it would prevent you from using the handle unless you put the seat down. And my dad came to mind. He was a man of little patience. And I said, Steve, no self-respecting man is going to put up with this thing that's in the way on the toilet. They're just going to rip this thing off. If you want to change the behavior, then why not change how the toilet flushes and make the lid the lever? And we just continued talking about this, and one thing led to another, and we started working on a prototype. And I, being an engineer, I came up with something that was an overcomplicated solution. And Steve took that idea, and he came up with something that was much simpler. And we've just continued to work on this together to the point of turning it into a real product and selling it.
So where's the company now?
So at this point, we've filed a patent, and we're running a crowdfunding campaign to get the money to make the injection plastic molds, and we're working with a company in SoCal locally to do that. And the big hurdle right now is financing those molds. They're really expensive to design and implement. And so we started the crowdfunding campaign to get us enough money to be able to launch the company.
So where is that crowdfunding? How can they find that?
So we're on Indiegogo. Okay. You can look us up under LidFlush. You can also find us on lidflush.com, and we have a Facebook page as well.
Okay, lidflush.com?
Yep.
Okay, that's easy to find out. And then what is next then? So, as we have our, everybody's, is going to the Indiegogo. They're signing up, trying to help you. What's next for you guys?
Well, the journey, when you start a journey like this, you never realize how long it's going to take, and sometimes you look back and go, "Holy mackerel, where are we?" So we're both Chris and I are committed to the vision and the mission, which are the same thing. The vision is harmony and hygiene. And of course, that's in the bathroom. But of course, that harmony in the bathroom can extend to the whole home.
Yeah.
And also the mission is the same, which is to establish harmony and hygiene. Again, that's the mission. So regardless of whether we are successful with our crowdfunding, we're going to continue until we are able to get this product out on the market. Because we've had every indication from all of our research and personal contacts with our networks that it's actually something that people want.
Definitely. Any last words? Anything we missed? No.
I would appreciate it. I would consider it a personal favor from the Santa Cruz community if you would be willing to share
and beyond
to share our Indiegogo campaign on your Facebook page. We just really need to get eyeballs on the campaign to bring awareness and to help us get over this little hurdle to manufacture and bring the product to market.
So probably the easiest way is lidflush.com to find that out. Well, thank you so much, Chris and Steve, for coming today. Okay. Now we're going to do musical chairs. We're going to have our regular scheduled guests come back to their seats and move our co-host, because I want to find out what is next. What's next for TechRaising? What's next for the Santa Cruz New Tech Meetup? And I know there's a lot. So let's start off with Doug. So Doug, I want to know what. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back just an ounce. You have a hackathon coming up? Can you tell us about
those
that?
are the two things coming up. Yeah, one of two things coming up. Our next meetup is December 3rd. It's at the Del Mar Theater, and it's a celebration of 2014, all things Santa Cruz and techie. And we have a featured guest, Nir Ayal, who is the one of the thought leaders in social behavior and how social media actually impacts us. He has a new book out called Hooked. It's if you're a business that provides a service or a product, and you want to learn about what do you need to add, what can you do to help build that sort of addiction to you, your company, your service, your products. This is a good one for you. We'll also be, we just found out today, didn't we? We'll be giving away an iPad mini.
Ooh, nice.
To somebody who downloads an app that we're going to be using there called CrowdMic. And so that's coming up December 3rd.
December 3rd, okay. And how can they get tickets?
Santa Cruz New Tech Meetup. If you just Google that, you'll find it.
Okay.
You can join and be sure to buy your tickets soon, because as soon as we get that iPad mini stuff out there, I think it's going to go fast.
I've seen Nir speak a couple times. He's brilliant. He's
nice.
He's really good. He is very professional at speaking. His ideas are, top notch, very current thinking. It's going to be great.
And we have some pictures that are going to be on the screen beforehand, or what's?
Yeah, in fact we do. Santa Cruz Waves, yes. We'll be doing a beautiful slideshow during the networking hour on the main screen. And so we're going to see some just the amazing waves and images of Santa Cruz over the last year.
Nice.
So that's going to be fantastic.
I've seen some of the pictures there. And just to have those pictures on a big screen at the Del Mar, it's going to be pretty awesome. And there's only 200. The Del Mar has changed the seating. There used to be more. Now there's only 288 seats, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So tickets are going to go pretty fast.
There's a number of tickets sold already, so.
Yeah. And if last month's indication that you had over 280 people that came to New Tech Meetup, we know it's gonna sell out. So make sure you get your tickets soon. Just Google Santa Cruz New Tech Meetup and register to be on the meetup. I guess join the other 2,000 people almost that have signed up already for the meetup, not for the event.
Yes.
Andrew, what is next for TechRaising?
I'll tell you about that in a second, but first I want to say that it was really great to hear Steve and Chris here talking about Lid Flush.
Yes.
Because Steve has been helping since day one with TechRaisings.
I think any tech event Steve has helped with.
And I remember when he first talked to me about the Lid Flush idea. I always thought it was a great idea and wanted to see him do it. And Chris is a serial tech raiser. I mean, he's been to 3. He's led some of the largest teams. I think he had like 20 people on his team last time.
Wait, Chris, what was it called?
Caffeine.com.
Caffeine.com. How did he get that domain name?
And what was your first, Chris? What was your first? Auto Brew was his first. Where he actually brought
and then the Craigslist
water into a data center, I think. We won't talk about that.
So what's next for TechRaising? So next up for TechRaising on December 9th, we have a meetup at 6:30 p.m. That's a Tuesday at Nextbase. And we will have Colin Zima. He's the Chief Analytics Officer over at Looker, and he will be talking about big data and how big data is changing your business. Big data may be a buzzword right now, but business intelligence and being able to leverage data for any company of any size becomes extremely important in this competitive environment that all businesses are feeling. So he's before Looker, he was over at Hotel Tonight. He sold his company. He founded 2 Hotel Tonight. That's another company that uses data extremely well. And he basically is out there traveling all the time, helping Looker customers to unleash the power of their data. So it's going to be really fascinating to hear him speak. You could go to the meetup and RSVP on the meetup. That is meetup.com, TechRaising, or you could find it through the TechRaising site as well. We're also working on a couple of exploratory things. We're looking to put together a panel discussion with local people who have ran successful Kickstarters. Right? So the idea is to get them to share their experiences, what they've learned, to help other people in our community who want to run Kickstarters get some kind of feel for what it's about, how to do it, what not to do, what to do. And after that, we're looking to maybe even put together a panel of people who are experts in the different things you need to do when you make it to a Kickstarter, like create the video, do the advertising campaign, build your community, get people to donate, figure out what products, the whole production thing, build a mentorship panel that helps somebody who has a great idea to build their Kickstarter campaign and run that Kickstarter campaign. And we're also looking at either April or May for the next TechRaising weekend.
Exciting.
I think I just committed to that.
Okay, it's done.
It's done.
So before we go any further, because I have one more question. Actually, I have one more question that I want to ask, but we have to thank our sponsors. The show, it just couldn't happen without them. So the show is brought to you by Jabico Enterprises, Staff of Life, King Insurance and Financial, and the Sock Shop and Shoe Company. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
So with 1 minute each, I want to ask, both of these endeavors you have, the New Tech Meetup, TechRaising, you're not making a killing off these things. You're not making a lot of money. What drives you to do it? I mean, what inspires you that you want to you put so much time and so much energy into these two things? Whoever wants to speak first.
Well, I'll just jump in. So yeah, New Tech Meetup is a not-for-profit. We don't make a penny off of it. We do it for love of community and all things techie and geeky. It's just a way for us to connect with the community. I want to say that, but I also want to I just wanted to plug
Sure.
the hackathon. So we're doing Hack UCSC on January 9 through 11. A hackathon, for those of you who don't know what it is when a bunch of developers and people get together and they create something over a very short time period, 2.5 days, a lot of Red Bull, that sort of thing. We've got over $60,000 in prizes, and we expect 400 people. And it's a regional wide. It's Monterey Bay. It's the whole crescent here.
Awesome. And what about you, Andrew? What drives and motivates you?
It's seeing the people who go through the events come out of them so happy and knowledgeable about what they've learned. It's seeing their progress that I think drives me to doing it. It is very rewarding to see other people growing.
Okay, and Lydia actually has one more question.
Well, actually, I have one more question that came in.
Okay.
We had that conversation before about getting local people in tech jobs, and they mentioned something that was out there to help that. If you're interested in that, that's santacruzworks.org.
Okay.
Yeah, you could go look at santacruzworks.org. They have a website that shows all the many of the different companies that are in tech in here and the different parts of the ecosystem on there. I think it has New Tech Meetup on there. It has TechRaising on there. So it's kind of like a hub where you can go and kind of see what's happening and click through to maybe jobs available, things like that.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, that is our show. It seems like we can go another hour, couldn't we?
Easily.
By far. Well, we want to thank, first of all, our amazing producer, Darren Odin from Odin Creative Media, for doing such a great job filming. Thank you very much. So tune in next week, same time, same channel, KSCO at 2 o'clock. Next week, we have a really good panel of guests. And basically, you're going to have to go to our Facebook page. Or, Darren, what's our website? ThinkLocalFirstRadio.com. Go to that page, and you could find out who's going to be next for next week's guest. I think that's it. That is our show. You guys have a great weekend.
Thank you.